President Trump, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, giving some ground to the Democrats for a stimulus deal, but prospects remain dim. I don't know. It's hard to gauge with the stock market and what's actually happening, Eamon. I don't know how much it's actually correlated. It seems like it gets desensitized after a while. Anything positive? Sounded like a little bit, but then you're putting a damper on it. You're giving and you're taking it away.
Yeah, look, I mean, there was a scooch, which is a technical term of progress yesterday when we saw that the Republicans, at least the Secretary Mnuchin and the president, would accept some of the language around testing from Nancy Pelosi. But that's about it. And what we still have here, Joe, is a three-sided negotiation between Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, and Donald Trump. All three of them want something very different. It's just a week or so away from a national presidential election. That's not a good recipe for getting a deal done. Still, last night in the NBC town hall, President Trump said he does think it's possible to cut a deal. He blamed Nancy Pelosi, though, for being in the way of getting a deal done. Here's what he said.
I want a stimulus. The Republicans will approve a stimulus. The problem is she doesn't want to do it because she thinks it's bad for her election. The fact is she's wrong because people know she's in our way. She's not approving it. She doesn't appreciate our people, and she doesn't appreciate at all our workers. Nancy Pelosi, we are ready to sign and pass stimulus.
You know, in that town hall last night, the president also said that he's convinced that if he gets a deal with Speaker Pelosi, he'll be able to get Senate Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, to go along with that deal based on his own leadership. Mitch McConnell has said he doesn't want to go above $500 billion in this deal. Nancy Pelosi is way above that. So there's a lot of room between those two sides. Pelosi sending this letter to her fellow Democrats yesterday, saying she's encouraged by what Trump has been saying. She says, hopefully the president's statement to his team to go big or go home and that he'll accept a larger relief package will translate into results. So Pelosi sort of triangulating now Trump against McConnell. McConnell saying he's holding fast at $500 billion. No indication on how we're going to get this negotiation resolved. It is a triangular shaped steering wheel, and that makes it very hard to drive a car.
I had a question for you because I've just been thinking through the negotiation strategy that Nancy Pelosi is undertaking. We were just talking to Michael Zezas. He looks at this from Morgan Stanley on all the likely possibilities. And, you know, I would say it's probably a stretch to think it could happen. But, Nancy Pelosi, by doing this, is betting that the Democrats are going to win the House, the Senate, and the presidency. If they don't, she is going to be in a worse position coming later. Even if Biden wins, she's still going to be in a situation, if she's dealing with Mitch McConnell, where Mitch McConnell will be even less likely to take any of these terms. Right now, Mitch McConnell has a president who has said he will lean on those Republican senators who come down with this. It just seems a little crazy to me that she wouldn't try and cut some deal with the president right now and the administration talking about coming such a much higher level, $1.8 trillion or more, versus the $500 billion that Mitch McConnell is saying he will put on the floor. If she doesn't use a Republican president to put pressure on him, it seems to me like she is missing a huge opportunity. For what?
Look, Becky, you're wargaming all the exact right scenarios here, and it's a fascinating question, and it gets to what is in Nancy Pelosi's heart of hearts here. And far be it from me to peer into the soul of politicians, right? But, there's one scenario in which Nancy Pelosi doesn't really want a deal between now and the election, right? It doesn't do her Democrats any good to hand President Trump a big win and a big signing ceremony at the White House on a stimulus package that's going to send checks to millions of Americans just before Election Day. That's just raw politics. It's just a raw political truth. Is Nancy Pelosi being that cynical? She says no. She says she wants a deal. She says she's negotiating in good faith. The same on the president's side as well. So, you got to put the election in there as the big demarcation point. After the election, you're right. All of this is going to be scrambled. All the power dynamics will be scrambled. Depending on what the results are, we're going to have different people with different incentives. But for Pelosi, the raw politics would suggest it's not a smart idea to hand the president a big win over the next 3 weeks. And then after the election, you see what you can do. Now, that ignores the suffering of millions of Americans. And so that is a cynical strategy. Pelosi says that's not the strategy she's employing. But, that's what the raw politics would suggest.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.